Hello everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Saturday. I'm Leslie Watkins. So we have a gorgeous summer day here. The gardens are going like crazy, the birds are excited. I've got a couple of broody hens sitting on clutches of eggs in the chicken coop, so I'm hoping to have some baby chicks to share with you soon. And I've been spending the whole morning in the studio getting ready for a very special project. And I did a lot of the work ahead of time, so it wasn't too long, but it's still probably going to be a longer video. So if you'd like to get some coffee or tea, now's a good time to do that. And I'm just going to review some of the items and supplies that I'll be using today. All of these things are available in my online store, except that today is going to be a little bit something old, something new. So I will be using some retired items. You could probably find something that's pretty close to them, but I will be letting you know which things are the retired items and which things are still available. Also today I have a special offer coming up for just a few of you. I have enough supplies for a very special class that I'm going to be announcing later this month for just 5 people. So if you're interested in that, that's something that you'll want to get on my mailing list to find out more about. So here is my address for my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com, and what you need to do is to go there and subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, and you'll see a menu item that says Notes. And if you go there and sign up, I will be able to send you the invitation to join this special event that I have coming right up. So let's get started. We've got a lot to do today. The project was inspired by the Sweet Strawberry Bundle, which is a strawberry stamp set with a punch that allows you to punch out the strawberries, some leaves, and a little flower. So this is a really nice set to have, but I'm going to be adding a whole bunch of other stuff to it. So some of the things that I have here are the Forever Grapevine bundle. I'm just going to be using the dies that look like this. It's a kind of a, let me find a piece of white to show you. I think you can maybe see a little bit there. So it's a beautiful grapevine with a lot of tendrils. It has a lot of wonderful detail, which I'll show you in the paper cuts. This is a die that really surprised me because of the detail that that you can achieve with this die. I'm really quite astonished by it, and I love it, and I think it's something that I'll be using more of in the future. Now, just FYI, this die does not correspond with the stamped image. It coordinates with it, but it's not an exact fit. So, but it is one of these dies that has a lot of detail with both embossing and special cutouts. So in combination, they would be quite spectacular. I'm also using the All Dressed Up dies. So this is the set that has this little purse. It was offered and is still offered with the lipstick and the high heels and the cologne and all that sort of thing. But I'm just using the purse with the strap and the buckles, and I also used one of the labels from this die set as well. Now, one of the things that is not current that I am using is the basket weave dynamic embossing folder, and while this is perfect for this project that I'm using today, you could probably use something like a some kind of a, if you first of all, you don't need to use it at all. You can just use the smooth bag that comes with this set. You don't need to emboss it, but if you wanted to emboss it the way I did, you might look at Tasteful Textiles, or some other sort of a geometric pattern would work. But if you've been with Stampin' Up! For a while and you have a stash, you very well may have this embossing folder in there someplace, and if you do, pull it out because it's great for this. I also have some gems here. These are the gold glitter enamel dots, and to be honest with you, I can't remember if this is a current or a retired product or not, but you could use anything. You could use the champagne rhinestones, you could use just the regular basic rhinestones, you could use the genial gems, anything that has a small yellow tone sparkle is fine. I've got lots of dimensionals handy, both the standard size and the minis. I've got some ribbon. This is the Whisper White crinkled seam binding ribbon. And I think that almost covers it. I've also got the Small Blooms punch here, and I've got several different inks. So I've got Real Red, Garden Green, and So Saffron handy. And the cardstock that I'm going to be using today is Crumb Cake, Garden Green, and Poppy Parade. Oh, and some Whisper White as well. All right, so that I think covers the supplies for the moment. And I will be listing all of these supplies below after the video, so that you can just click on the link and it'll bring you right to the project list. And as I mentioned, I started doing a lot of work ahead of time. So here are some of the pieces that I've cut out. I'm going to zoom you in so you can get a good look at some of the detail on this. So these are the vines from that, what is it called again? This is from Forever Grapevine, and the dies are called Grapevine dies. And I really want you to see just how delicate and fine this is, because this is really quite something. So you see these little tiny tendrils, and then the veins in the leaves are cut through to give you this really deep incised detail. And it looks like something out of a Baroque filigree. And I am excited to use this in a lot of upcoming projects, so that's something you may want to check out. And so I've got a few pieces of that handy, and I'll probably be cutting that up a little bit to assemble. This is the thank you die, or I'm sorry, the thank you stamp that I used on the label that comes with All Dressed Up dies. And here is the bag that comes with All Dressed Up, and what I've done is I've cut out the two pieces. You cut it out twice, and I then used that embossing folder, which is called Basket Weave Dynamic, okay, and I spritzed it on both sides gently with a little spray of water just to get that really rich basket weave, and then I sponged it. And this is Crumb Cake, and I used the Crumb Cake ink just to sponge it. So I just took a little quarter of the now retired Stampin' Up! Sponges, and I just gave that a gentle rub over the surface and the edges to get this really nice look. And then I went ahead and I punched out the or I die cut out the little belt buckles, and I did this in a kind of a metallic bronze paper, so I don't know if you can see the sheen on that a little bit, okay? And these, I mean, the detail on these are really, I mean, they're no bigger than my thumbnail, but if you look closely, you'll see that they also have a wonderful detail in the buckle. These long pieces are the straps to the handbag, which I'm going to be using as a strawberry basket, if you haven't guessed already. I'm sure you did. And then I have an assortment of things that I've punched out with the strawberry builder and the small bloom punch. So I've got some leaves, I've got some strawberry tops, I've got the larger flowers and the smaller flowers. And I think that's all I've got to show you before we begin. So I am going to very quickly show you how I stamped and punched out the strawberries. So let me just check my settings here, make sure that we are live. And yes, we are, and I have company. Who's with me? Kelly, Ginger, Abby, Vicky. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for joining me on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Northwest Connecticut. You can tell me what it's like where you live. We are going to be having some very hot weather, I think, coming up. So I am in the process of moving things from my studio here, my Northlight studio, into my paper crafting studio where it's nice and cool. So you may get a impromptu tour of my paper crafting studio coming up in a future video. So now I tried using the strawberry stamp on the Poppy Parade with Poppy Parade. I wanted to do a tone on tone, but it was a little bit too light. So what I decided worked better was the real red. So that's what this is. So this is real red on Poppy Parade, and that gives me something that looks like that. Okay, so you get to see those little shadows from the seeds. Maybe we can squeeze 3 of them on there. Oh, I think I'm going to lose a little bit with the punch here. Let's see, maybe not. There's one. Oh, my hands aren't strong today. 2 and 3. Okay, so it's just that quick and easy. And then what I'm going to do is I have a couple of these little toppers that I've already stamped and punched out in garden green. And all I'm going to do is glue those to the top of my strawberries like so. Now this strawberry, you can see it got a little bit, I'll show you in just a sec. See, I got a little bit chomped because I went too close to the other images in the punch, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be layering up these strawberries. And so it looks like that little basket is filled with them. So that can be one that goes down below where you won't see that. Okay, so that's how you make these adorable strawberries, just like that. And this is the sort of thing that you could stamp and punch out a whole bunch and put in a envelope and have them ready to go for your future projects. So I have about a dozen of these that I've assembled, and they are ready to go. And I also have some leaves. So let me show you the leaves. So here's a scrap of the garden green. I've got my garden green ink, and this is a pretty juicy ink pad, so it's stamping fairly dark. And so I'm just going to gently tap my stamp in there, and then I'm just going to go along this strip. And there's a bunch of leaves that quickly. And again, go to my strawberry builder punch. And let's see, which way do I want to do this? Go like that. Get that lined up. If you're someone that that grows strawberries in your garden, or makes strawberry jam, or if you're somebody that goes to the farmer's market, this is a great set to have if you want to gift people your jam and your preserves and all of the other wonderful things that you can do with strawberries. Maybe you want to have a picnic and invite some friends to a picnic, and you could make a wonderful invitation using these things. All right, so I think that covers our punch outs for now. And the next thing is to assemble our basket. Now, I did something a little different here than what was intended for this set. So the way this works, it was supposed to be like a pocketbook, and I think that what you're supposed to do is you do the two sides like so, but these sides are supposed to poke in. But what I did was I folded them so that they poke out, because I want it to be a bigger, broader basket, so it looks something more like this. And then the other thing I did was I also, there it is. I also die cut 2 extra pieces for the inside. So because I want to glue these together and use this as an insert inside the basket to give the strawberries more volume, to make it look more 3D. So in order to do that, what I did was I cut out this piece with the bottom still on. Okay, so I left that on. I cut away all the rest. So this is the way it looks like otherwise. Okay, so I cut all this away, but I left this bottom piece on. And then what I did was I scored it. This is about 1 inch wide, and so I scored it at the 1/2 inch mark. So I'll show you what I did. Let me pause you for just a second. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I got an invitation for dinner tonight, and it was very nice, but I didn't want to cut them off. So anyway, so what I did was I took, after I cut off the side piece to this panel, I just put it in the trimmer, and I lined it up at the 1/2 inch mark here, and then I ran my scoring blade along that so I could get a nice little configuration that looks like this. All right, so I think you can see that pretty well. And all I'm going to do is take my second piece that has nothing attached to it, just that single panel alone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that on there. There we go. I'm just making sure that I'm not too low because I want that to fold well. Okay. Give that a good burnish. And then I'm just going to snip away these little extra bits on either side. All right, so now I've got something that looks like this, and this is going to glue down inside the bag, but we have to do a little bit of assembly before we get to that point. So I'm just going to take my glue and I'm going to adhere these two halves together. Line that up. I'm just holding that in place. This is such a cute project, the way this comes together. All right, so there's that side. And I don't want that to shift, so I'm just going to give that a couple of seconds to set up. Make sure I've got good adhesion there. All right, and then I'm going to come around and do the other side, same way. There we go. Get that lined up nice and straight. And I can take my bone folder and just give that a good burnish. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do is, when I make these little boxes, if I can, I like to put these little side tabs sandwiched in between the two big panels. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put some glue over here. Fold that in. And I can slip my hand just in there. Same on this side. And then I'm going to put plenty of glue on the bottom. And just bring all that together. And there is our adorable little basket. So now I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to let that set up a little bit, and while that's coming together, I'm going to begin to assemble the insert, and this is going to go right down inside like so that we have those dividers in there to add lots of strawberries to. But I think that'll be a little bit easier if I adhere those strawberries with the insert out. So I just want to see how much of a clearance I have here. Okay, so I could overlap by about 3/4 of an inch here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Put a little bit of glue right here. Let's see. Have this one going like that. Check that. Okay. That looks pretty cute. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm having these strawberries facing outwards. Oops. There we go. Okay, so that's the bottom layer of strawberries. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my dimensionals, and I'm going to give these strawberries a little bit of a curl so that they kind of puff out a little bit, just like that. Okay, and then add these are the larger dimensionals. Here we go. And I'm just going to start layering these on top of the others. Okay, so it looks something like that, both sides. Okay, so now my insert looks something like this, and I have my leaves that I've got ready to go here, and I have my little flowers. But I think the next thing I want to do is I want to adhere my insert. So to do that, I'm just adding some glue onto this bottom strip. And I'm just going to get that centered in there. And just get that in place with my bone folder. Okay, so now we've got something that looks like this. Just want to make sure that that's stuck down really well, so that's not going anywhere. And now I'm going to use the leaves just here and there, just to fill it out a little bit. Now you can put the leaves together so that you have a stamped image both front and back. But I think what I'm going to do, actually I've got an idea here. I'm going to take my two flaps of the insert and I'm actually going to glue them together. So if I add a little bit of glue, because I want this to have a good view from both sides. So if I put my leaves together like so, I can add this one right in here. So here's my double-sided leaf, and I'm just going to put a glue dot near the base, and then I'm sandwiching that in between my two flaps here. Just letting that poke out a little bit. Okay. One more. There we go. All right, now I want to save a couple of leaves for the front. So the next thing is to assemble my straps. Now these straps are designed in such a way, this is so cute, that they can go through these buckles. So here is, I'll zoom you in a touch. Here's a little buckle that I die cut out, and I'm just going to slip my strap, just weave it through there. So I get something that looks like that. All right, and I'm going to, there are 4 of these buckles, so 2 for each strap, like so. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some glue. I'm going to start with one side. Hold that in place for just a minute.